All right, so having analyzed supply and demand separately, we will now combine them. So let's see how supply and demand determine the price and the quantity of a good that will be sold into a market. Equilibrium, the happy point. It's the situation where the price has reached the level where the quantity supplied of a good equals the quantity that's demanded of a good. Okay? And together, these forces determine equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. Is a market always at equilibrium? No, it's not. Sometimes it comes off equilibrium. But if you leave the market alone, okay, if left alone, the market will correct and move back towards equilibrium. So here we go. We can see in this case of ice cream, the equilibrium price of ice cream is determined at the point where the supply of ice cream equals the demand of ice cream. So the equilibrium price there is $2, and the equilibrium quantity is 7 ice cream cones. All right, so let's just say that the equilibrium price of an ice cream cone is $2, and the equilibrium quantity is 7 ice cream cones in the market. Okay, so let's just analyze what happens when we are not in equilibrium. Okay, the equilibrium price is $2, but let's just take an example where at the moment we are priced at $2.50. Well, what's going to happen? Okay, well, all right, so let's just see. Think about it like this and like this. All right, so let's see. We are not in equilibrium in this case, are we? The price is $2.50, not $2. So what is the quantity of ice cream cones that is going to be demanded? Well, we just look at the demand curve. And so it's right here. That's what we are going to be demanding. But because the price is $2.50, sellers are going to be supplying more ice cream to the market. So they're going to be supplying 10 ice cream cones to the market. If only 4 are demanded and 10 are supplied, we are going to have what's called a surplus. Or otherwise known as, we're going to have excess supply. We're going to have too much supply in the market. All right? So what's going to happen eventually? So there's not enough demand, inventories are going to build up, and so suppliers are going to need to cut prices, aren't they? And they're going to need to cut prices down to $2. Okay? And so that's the process, right? If left alone, the market will move back to equilibrium. Now, it's not always left alone. We get to talk about government intervention and things like that later. But at $2.50, that supplier of ice cream is not going to be able to sell 10 ice cream cones because only 4 are going to be demanded. The only way for the seller to sell all his ice cream cones is to move it to the market clearing price. The market clearing price is another name for equilibrium price. Everyone is satisfied at that price. Everybody who wants an ice cream cone at that price can buy one, and everyone who wants to sell ice cream cones at that price can sell them. All right, so again, equilibrium price going on the right-hand side here. Equilibrium price is $2. But let's imagine that the price, again, just going through pretty much the same example, but a different situation, I suppose, where the price is $1.50. Okay, the price is not at equilibrium. The price is at $1.50. And so we have to look at the supply curve and we have to look at the demand curve. At $1.50, sellers are motivated to supply 4 ice cream cones to the market. But at $1.50, hey, everyone's in ice cream then, and so we're going to be demanding, we just look at the demand curve there, right? Follow it along to the demand curve. We're going to be demanding 10 ice cream cones at that price level. And so we are going to have what's called it's not a surplus, no, but it is a shortage. And the shortage is between these two lines, right? So we're going to have a shortage of 6 ice cream cones then. I guess you can see. People are going to be coming in asking for ice creams. 10 people are going to be walking in, but only 4 ice cream cones are available for them to buy. Well, what's going to happen then? Well, obviously there's more demand than supply, so the price of ice cream is going to be bid up. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, bid up to the market clearing price, bid up to the equilibrium price, where supply equals demand. So what can we conclude from all this? Well, we can conclude that it is the price that adjusts to bring the quantity supplied to the market and the quantity demanded in the market into balance. So when we have a surplus, for example, there's excess supply, the price has to go down. And when the prices go down, producers will supply less to the market in the future. Okay, so it is the price that adjusts. So, and this was very well articulated in Adam Smith's book in 1776 called The Wealth of Nations. 99-cent ebook, guys. Basically, he summed it up like this. Don't mess with the price, bro. I don't know if that was a direct quote, but really that was a summary of his message. Speaking to governments here, do not interfere with the price. The price will correct itself. If there's a surplus, the price will go down, and because the price is down, suppliers will supply less to the market. And then we'll have the quantity supplied equals quantity demand. Right? So, and the opposite is in the case of a shortage. If there's a shortage, the price will rise. And because the price goes up, more supply will be provided to the market. All right? You may have heard the quote, the cure for low oil prices is low oil prices. You see, sometimes it can take longer in some industries to adjust how much they supply to the market. Take the oil industry for an example. We all know that oil prices are quite volatile. But when oil prices do go down, producers, at least initially, keep up their production. They keep on producing. And it does take them a long time, a month, or it depends on the situation. It just takes a little bit of time for them to adjust how much they supply to the market. But if prices are low, is being a supplier of this product, is it more profitable or less profitable? If prices are low, it becomes less profitable. So therefore, suppliers will supply less to the market. And then there won't be any more surpluses anymore. Anyways, so all this is basically, it's called the law of supply and demand. Left alone, the price will adjust, and that will bring quantity supplied and quantity demanded into balance. And it is really the power of markets to make sure that there isn't a lot of waste and to make sure that there are no shortages. This was in stark contrast, 50, 70 years ago from America to what was going on in Russia when they were communist, when they had socialism. There were a lot of shortages. And there were many, many people working, trying to make sure that everybody had everything that they needed. But ultimately they would fail because it was controlled in their command economy. Adam Smith in 1776 postulated the question, in 1976, about 1 million people lived in London, almost 1 million people. Who is it that makes sure that enough food is delivered to London and that is distributed appropriately across the city? Who is it that makes sure that happens? Nobody, no one. It was the market that would decide that. It was the market that would ensure that where there was demand for food, that demand would be satisfied with the supply of food. That's the power of markets. All right, guys, so here comes the fun part. We get to analyze when there is a shift in demand, when there is a shift of supply, or even both. What are the implications going to be on equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity? All right, now there's 3 steps. So you might, I don't know if you want to print this slide off or not. I haven't. Step number 1, you have to think about when there's an event. Does this event shift supply or demand? Perhaps both. Second step, what direction does the curve shift? Is there a shift to the right? Is there a shift to the left? And then third, we have to use our new supply-demand diagram and try to analyze how does this shift change the equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. Let's do some practice questions. Example number 1. Suppose that one summer the weather is very, very hot. How does this event affect the market for ice cream? All right, so we're in the market for ice cream. Right now our equilibrium price is $2 and our equilibrium quantity is 7 ice cream cones to the market. And the weather is very hot. Number 1, is that going to affect supply? Is that going to affect demand or even both? Hot weather. Is that going to affect the supply of ice cream at all? Probably not. But in hot weather, people's tastes change. They have a preference for colder food, right? So obviously ice cream is very popular in the summertime when it's very, very hot. Everybody wants to have ice cream. So the demand is going to be impacted. Number 2, what direction is the shift? Are they going to demand more ice cream or less ice cream? They're going to demand more ice cream. Okay, so does that mean the demand curve is going to shift to the right or to the left? It's going to shift to the right. Okay, they're going to demand more ice cream. So how does the shift change equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity? Well, we'll just draw the lines. And as we can see, the price is going to go up, it's going to go up. I'll just make up numbers here to $2.50, and we're going to be demanding more ice cream cones. So when demand increases, the price goes up and the quantity demanded goes up as well. Example 2. Suppose that during another summer, a hurricane destroys part of the sugarcane crop and drives up the price of sugar. So how is this increase in the price of sugar going to impact the ice cream cone market? Number 1, is it going to affect supply, demand, or both? Is it going to affect demand? No. It has no impact on the demand for ice cream. But sugar is an input to the production of ice cream. So therefore, the supply curve is going to be affected. All right, so we know that the supply curve is going to be affected. Number 2, what direction is the shift? Input prices, the cost of producing ice cream has just increased. Does that make supplying ice cream more profitable or less profitable? Less profitable. So is the supply going to increase or decrease? Right? So sellers sellers of ice cream, now it's become less profitable to produce ice cream, so they're going to supply less to the market. So is the direction of the shift of ice cream, is it going to shift to the left or shift to the right? Well, they're going to supply less to the market, so it's going to shift to the left. So how does this shift change equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity? Well, you can see in this case, the price is going to go up, just like last time, but this time the quantity demanded is going to decrease. All right, so we're going to move to this equilibrium. All right, example number 3. Now suppose that the heat wave and the hurricane occur during the same summer at the same time, okay? So again, the heat wave causes an increase in demand, and the hurricane drives up the price of sugar and causes a decrease in the supply of ice cream. Okay, so both things are happening at the same time. So what's going to happen? All right, so the demand curve is going to shift to the right, and the supply curve is going to shift to the left. All right, but the big burning question in this case is, how does the shift change the equilibrium price and quantity? And that really depends on the magnitude of the shifts. So in the first example, let's say that the demand curve shifts further out to the right than the supply curve, okay? So the demand curve shifts way out. It's so hot. People are demanding ice cream just like crazy. But the supply curve, right, the increase in the price of sugar only shifts the supply curve slightly to the left, right? So what's going to happen to the impact on price and quantity? All right, yeah, so we're going to see an increase in the quantity of ice cream in the market, and we're going to see an increase in the price. I'll just make up prices. I'm making up everything here to $3, right? So price is going to go up, and the quantity of ice cream in the market is going to go up as well. All right, so anyways, pretty easy, right? But let's take the other case, you know, where the price of sugar, that hurricane was just awful, and the price of sugar soars, okay? Way out here, right? And the demand curve, yeah, it's impacted a little bit, but you know, not that much, right? So here we have a greater impact of our supply curve. What's going to happen? What's the impact? You can see how easy this is to draw, but we can see that there's going to be a slight difference here, right? The quantity of ice cream in the market is going to decrease in that case, right? It's just become too expensive to produce ice cream given the increase in the price of sugar. And the quantity of ice cream is going to decrease in the market. But the price is still going up. The price is still going up. So price is not affected in this case. All right, and you can even imagine a situation. Now, I don't know if I can draw this situation effectively, but we'll see. We'll try, where the change in demand is of the same magnitude as the change in supply. And we can see that, in fact, our new equilibrium is right here. Our old equilibrium is right here. And there is not a change in the amount of ice cream in the market. But there is an increase in price, okay? We still have an increase in price, but the quantity of ice cream in the market remains the same. So when we get into two different shifts, it does depend on the magnitude of the shifts.